What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics Show. We are live here, as always, on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter channels. Do yourself a favor, do us a favor. Make sure to check us out on Twitter first at DSM_Media is where you can find us. Hit that follow button and then check out the link tree in our bio. It will take you to every social media platform we are available on. If you guys want to be interactive, like my man D-Rab is doing in the comments right now, make sure to check out the YouTube link specifically. It is the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here with us. I'm one half your host tonight, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. The Phillies are up an astounding 13-zip in San Francisco to salvage a series against the Giants. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the offensive lulls, the great pitching, and just kind of where your guys' minds are at in this long baseball season. We are hitting close to the mid-July point. We're approaching the All-Star break. We're approaching the trade deadline. Will this look like a different team? How different will it look come trade deadline time? Will Dave Dombrowski stand up? Where are you guys at with this Phillies team? VJ Edgecombe made his Sixers Summer League debut a few nights back. Missed the last two games with thumb injury, a finger injury. It's okay.
Contusion.
It's a joke. I'm just joking. But we're going to talk about that debut of VJ Edgecombe and whatever else you guys want to get into. So make sure to drop the comments, topics, whatever. My man, happy hump day, and what is going on?
Yes, sir. Happy hump day. You mentioned it. The Phillies bounced back today. I think it should be ending here shortly. They were in the bottom of the ninth, so it should be over shortly here. But they obviously bounced back in strong fashion out in San Francisco, a team that they obviously struggled with the last two nights. And a team that people were, wondering if the Phillies could win in San Fran. Apparently they go out there and they struggle all the time. So it's going to be a good W nonetheless. And it kind of leads us to this conversation, man. I texted you earlier today about some of the things that I don't want to call them like negatives. I just want to call them like topics, because it's not that I feel that way. It's just what I see being discussed online, especially after certain Phillies games. And it led me to just kind of dig into their last 2 months of play. And it comes out a little confusing. I mean, it does. Like, it's just, it's natural. I think when you look around the rest of the league, specifically the NL, that starts to make a little bit more sense if that makes sense. Not trying to be funny here at all. But no, I looked at what they've been able to do over the last 2 months, and obviously July we're just getting started, but they have won 7 out of 12 series if you include the San Francisco series that's wrapping up today. Obviously they get the W, but they don't win the series today. So 7 out of 12 of their last 12 series, they've won 7 of them. You look at who they played. June lost series to the Blue Jays, lost the series to the Pirates. Pirates wasn't great, right? Like Pirates got swept.
That's when the initial wave of
negativity
came in and floated across.
You win the series against the Cubs, man.
Big one.
That's something I waned to kind of highlight as I go through these. You get the series.
They won 2 series against the Cubs. Correct me if I'm wrong this year.
This season, yeah, for sure. And that one, this series was in Philadelphia. They win that 2-1. Swept the Blue Jays. They won the series against the Marlins.
First place team, by the way. Now, Blue Jays
sir. Yes, sir. Good call out. Highlight that. Won the series against the Mets. Highlight that.
Big one. Can't beat them ever.
Swept by the Astros.
Bad series.
We can highlight that one. We can highlight that one. You won the series against the Braves to end the month of June.
Playing bad baseball, but nonetheless.
Series win against the Braves.
Bury them, correct.
And then we get into July, and there was one game played in June, but they win the series against the Padres. They win the series against the Reds, and now we're here with the San Francisco Giants. So
they lost this one.
I go through all of those to point out that, it's a little confusing, but I think the big thing that you can look at is when they're playing the better competition.
Yeah.
They're stepping up to the plate, no pun intended, and they're doing what they need to do to prove themselves against the higher ranking teams in MLB. I get it. It gets annoying, seeing them get swept by the Astros. Yes, maybe there is something in that Houston water down there. I don't know. But it's just interesting. So we get to today and we get this explosion and it kind of just balances everything back out again, right? And it
scale, brother.
I sent you a bunch of topics this morning, some about Bryce, some about Jesus Luzardo. How do we feel about him today? So it's just
yeah. I mean, it's a very good place to start. I mean, PSA for everyone out there, Bryce Harper still good at baseball. Oh, Bryce Harper's back. Maybe he never left. Maybe that wrist, maybe he's not, going to be 100% Bryce Harper the rest of the way, right? Maybe he's not going to be 100%. And maybe it will come back to bite this team in the ass come October for the simple fact that he and the Phillies seem to have mishandled that wrist injury over the offseason, right? Could they have done something about it months and months prior to all this? That's TBD, but it just goes with the continuous flow of what we've been discussing since April, Scotty, since May. And I know people are probably tired if they watch the show. I know Marsh is not in here right now, but people are probably tired of hearing me say the same thing, right? Just relax, breathe. It's a long season, but I want to bring it back to football season because you and I we were texting the other day and we're very excited for Eagles training camp to start up. And we have a lot of things planned for this upcoming year, content wise, and just trying to, win another Super Bowl. Right. But it's why I tell you, you cannot treat every baseball game like an Eagles game. And people religiously continue to do it. All those series that you threw out there was a combination of a lot of things. You know what that was? There was a combination of the Phillies scoring a lot of runs, the Phillies scoring very little runs. There were blown saves by the bullpen. There were dominant starts by the starters. They lost to really bad teams. They swept or beat really good teams, first place teams, playoff teams. That's just what happens. So to take it to football season, let me ask you this. As an Eagles fan last year, in previous years, I know we didn't lose many games last year, but in previous years where we viewed the Eagles as contenders, if the Philadelphia Eagles went out there, right, and they lost the game to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I know we had a very, very ugly come-from-behind loss against Arizona 2 years ago, but not that loss. If they lost the game to the Arizona Cardinals, right, but then beat the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills, are you viewing the Eagles as a contender? Or are you hanging your hat on the fact that they lost to the Cardinals? Like, you're hanging your hat, not you, but people are hanging their hat on the fact that they got swept by the Pirates. How do you get swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates? Why don't you just ask the New York Mets? They just did it. And they're the team that we can never beat. And they're the team that went to the NLCS last year. See, that's the whole point of what I've been saying. You can't treat a 162 game schedule like it's 17 weeks.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, man. So let's get in a little deeper into it, man.
A little deeper, because they're imperfect, Scotty. They're not a finished product. And will Dave Dombrowski step up to the plate and be that guy that we've been hoping he would be at the deadline for the last 2 or 3 seasons? Will he go out and get a bat? We've seen the Eugenio Suarez rumors. You've seen the Jaron Duran rumors from Boston. We've seen a couple of relievers. I believe it's Helsley with St. Louis. Will he go out and make a splash? Is it 2 relievers? Is it 1 stud at the back end? Is it a power bat you can put over at third base? Maybe Hart moves back to the outfield. We've heard all these things circulating. That's TBD. I think you're going to see a different Phillies team come the trade deadline. I think you're going to see a different bat in the middle of that order, and I think you're definitely going to see some much-needed bullpen help come in. They're imperfect. I watch what you guys watch, okay? Last night, I stayed up for that. I stayed up for Rob Thompson throwing a guy I've never heard of, and I don't know his first name, something Robert. And then I've seen him throw Jordan Romano and try to get 5 outs. And then for the first time in 99 years, I watched a catcher hit a walk-off grand slam against us after midnight. I stayed up for that. I've lost money putting my faith in this team that, hey, the Phillies should score 4 runs tonight, right, Scotty? Oh, the offense can't hit with runners in scoring position. They're 0 for their last 27 with runners in scoring position. They scored 2 runs or less in 3 straight games. I see the same things you guys see, but today is a perfect example of why you can't overreact, because at the end of the day, they're still a very, very good team. We know your feelings, Brian.
It's funny. I had to ask.
They're in first place, Scotty. They're like 15, 16 games over 500. They're in first place of the division in July, but they suck.
I did. I had to ask. Martian. He mentioned me on Twitter or X the other day, man. I had to ask him, like, is this Brian Pumper, dude? Like, because he was just being a hater, man. But welcome, Brian. Welcome, nonetheless. We'll take the haters
always
today.
Welcome in.
No, but I do agree with you, and it does lead me to just a few questions I have for you. You mentioned Topper. Let's start there because I've seen a lot of discussion, and that was more around last night and some of the stuff over the weekend. How are we feeling with Topper? Where are we at with him right now?
Where are we at with Rob Thompson? We're at the point where Rob Thompson is still the winningest manager in Philadelphia in Phillies history over X amount of games. That's where we're at. I mean, people are upset, Scotty. They're upset because he doesn't stand up and fight for his guys. When the umpire's terrible, Rob's got to get tossed there. I mean, okay, if that's what we want to nitpick, if that's what sports talk radio needs to discuss on a random Monday or Tuesday at the end of June or the beginning of July to get themselves through the day, that's fantastic. There are moments where I love to see the fire from anybody, from a player, from Rob Thompson, from Caleb Cotham, from Kevin Long. When an umpire is bad, I'm all for someone getting tossed, but I'm not the person that needs it. He's got to stand up for his guys. He stands up for his guys plenty. The thing with last night, that's the more head-scratching thing when it comes down to it, is how he manages the bullpen at times. But then I come back to Dave Dombrowski. I think when you're talking about Rob Thompson, you have to talk about Dave Dombrowski because at the end of the day, you had a scheduled bullpen game, right? The Mick Abel thing started out great. Tail spun for a while. Mick Abel gets sent back down. Taijuan Walker's got to start a game. Turns into a little bit of a bullpen game, right? Taijuan was great. And the shameful thing about last night, Scotty, is the bullpen was great. The bullpen was phenomenal for 8 1/3. But then you get down to it and you use Strom and you used Banks. And if you want to argue the order in which these guys were used, I can give you that maybe. Orion threw 25, 26 pitches the night before. Should he have been available? He didn't throw the day before last night, so you can argue where was he. Outside of throwing Orion Kerkering the night after throwing 25 pitches, who
what do you want him to do?
Who else are you looking at? And that's when it comes to Dave Dombrowski and what this lineup, what this roster, entails right now. But I'm fine with Rob Thompson overall, Scotty. Like he's just has he ever been that guy to just
exactly what I'm sitting here thinking, man. It's just a very typical Philadelphia complaint. But it's just not who he is. And that's okay, man. At the end of the day, he's led this team to a World Series, led this team to the postseason. They don't need him to go out there and stand up for them. They can stand up for themselves like grown-ass men. When they're at the plate, they can hit the goddamn ball. And when they're on the mound, they can throw strikes. It's not simple. I know that. That's why you have managers there. But in the sense of we're all adults here, it's very simple. If you're not going out there and playing your hardest, if you're not going out there and giving it your all, and if you're not going out there and protecting yourself at the plate when you're talking to the ump, then that's on you as a grown man. There's going to be more fiery managers out there, and maybe that would appease the radio host. Yeah,
but if that's what
it just does not
get through our days
matter. Yeah, so I feel you. That's why I wanted to ask you because I've heard a lot of noise about it. I don't necessarily agree, but let me ask you about another guy. Yep. He's a guy that played today. He's a guy that pitched today.
Our Lord.
Jesus. I mean, Luzardo. How are we feeling about Luzardo? Because he's a guy, he's had his ups and downs recently, but the ups, I think this is the other side of it. The ups are just fucking amazing.
They're very,
and then the downs are really down.
The lows are low, Scotty. I mean, they're sinkhole low. I mean, he had those 2 starts, a little over a month ago, back-to-back, where he gave up 22 runs, I forget, in the 20s run-wise. He didn't get out of the 2nd or 3rd inning against the Reds last week. The lows are low.
Yeah.
But the highs are so sky high. And I just, I can't put my finger on it, and I trust everyone on the staff that's up right now wholeheartedly. Like, we can talk about Zach Wheeler in a couple minutes. We can talk about the fact that Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez, and specifically Christopher Sanchez because he's been healthy the whole year, but were snubbed from the All-Star games and how locked down they've been. But if I trust, and we haven't seen it yet, especially in a Phillies uniform, I trust Jesus Luzardo on the mound as much as any of those other three guys in a big-time moment. In the opportunities that he has provided this year, he went out on Friday night at the bank early in the year, big test, Apple TV against the Los Angeles Dodgers, and absolutely shoved into the 7th or 8th inning. Sunday Night Baseball, series is 1-1 against the New York Mets 3 weeks ago, at the bank, national television, goes out there and absolutely shoves against the New York Mets. Today, after that horrific loss last night, Giants, playoff team, very good team in the NL West. Can you salvage the series? Can you avoid another sweep in the early summer? Goes out and absolutely shoves. I trust him against bigger teams. I trust him when the lights are shining brighter. I can't really put my finger. I mean, I know I'm giving examples. When I say I can't put my finger on it, it's because we have no evidence that he will go and do that because it's not October. I just trust him to go and do his job come October time.
It's so funny, and we have this game today, so it just brings this conversation to the front of the table. I feel like, because I've seen rumblings on X once again of people saying that they don't trust Luzardo in their rotation of starters.
Yeah, I mean that's fucking crazy.
That's crazy to me. But
we're not watching the same. We're not watching the same season like as other people.
Are the lows? Or is it just matchups? Is it what? Is it just?
I have to go back and look. I know he was really bad against the Blue Jays, obviously against the Reds, and I think it was another bad team. And you can make that a negative if you want. Like, how is he so bad against these, bottom feeding teams? Yeah, but I'm going to take it the other way and give you the examples that I gave you and talk about how great he's been against some of the best teams in the major leagues and in the NL. So maybe
to your point, the Cubs as well last month. He went out that month. He pushed 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, no walks against the Cubs too. So to your point,
Dodgers, Cubs, Mets, Giants, just off the top of our hands that we know. Yeah. That without going back and looking. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty damn good. So if you don't trust Luzardo at all, I'm not saying you can't have concerns about him, but to not trust him at all, to be in your rotation, you don't watch the same sport that I do.
I know we talked earlier this season and we had mentioned maybe didn't think it would really come to reality that he would get pushed up to number 2, but where would you put him now? Like just way, and obviously things are ongoing.
That's the other thing. Right now, even with this fantastic start today and how much I feel like I'm talking him up, right now he's pitching 4th. Like he's
4th, right?
He's the 4th best pitcher right now. But on
nuts.
Any given night, he has the ability to be 1 or 2. I'm never going to sit here and say that someone is going to outshine Zach Wheeler. But Ranger Suarez has had outings where he goes 8 innings, 3 hits, no earned. Is that not very all the guys have the ceilings of getting into the 7th and 8th, low hits, shutouts, 1 earned, low walks. Luzardo and Sanchez are both in the top 5 lowest home runs per 9 this year. They don't give up the long ball, either of them. So that's huge. He's pitching 4th best because that's how dominant the other 3 have been. I don't think that's so much a knock on him.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. No, those guys have been on fire, but
the rest of the rotation, man, that should be the biggest positive for everybody, right? Because we keep going back to the runners in scoring position. I guess that's just the mentality of what's bitten us in the ass in the past, right? When it comes to October, we can't play small ball, blah blah blah. We can't pass the baton. So when we see them struggle with runners in scoring position and they go on these slumps, everyone's minds start to revert back to the pain. But what this starting unit, and the bullpen's been very good over the last month and a half too, by the way. I know they blew the game. Romano blew the game last night, but they have like a 3 ERA, including Romano's 9 ERA right now over the last month. So the bullpen's been very good. But this rotation, brother, like Zach Wheeler we're going to discuss him more on Friday when it comes to a lot of different topics, Philly athletes, free agent signings in Philadelphia, different stuff where he ranks on lists. But I mean, Zach Wheeler is among the best of the best. If you don't want to crown him the best pitcher in baseball, there are obviously guys like a Tarek Skubal out there in Detroit that might have something to say about it. But I will take Zach Wheeler even with any of the other games best that they have to offer right now. Christopher Sanchez just continues to improve. He's just steady Eddie. 2.87, 2.78 ERA, doesn't give up the long ball, forces a lot of ground outs. Ranger Suarez has come back, had a terrible start against the Diamondbacks a few months ago, and has been absolutely. Does Ranger still have like a 1 ERA over his last like 7 or 8 starts since coming back? It's absurd.
Yeah.
What he's doing right now is absurd. You add in the highs that Luzardo can offer. I got news for everybody. Andrew Painter is more than likely coming up in the middle to end of January post All-Star break. This rotation's filthy.
Have you heard anything
about this team? This is what wins ball games in October.
Have you heard anything about Nola?
That he was down in Clearwater. Like I saw McCarthy talking that he was down in Clearwater, like throwing a little bit, getting ready for a bullpen. But I think like on the one app I have, he's on like the 60-day IL. Like I'm getting to a point, like let's say this, if Aaron Nola is not able to return until late August, I'm shutting him down.
Yeah.
I'm shutting him down.
Yeah.
I don't see any, especially if Painter comes up and excels as a 5th option, and you have a guy like Taijuan Walker who continues to pitch well. With the year that Nola was having, I don't see any benefit to bringing him up at the end of August, beginning of September in a pennant race and trying to thrust him back into the middle of this rotation. It's not a bad thing to have Aaron Nola waiting in the wind for you, but that's how good this rotation's been.
But a rusty Nola is just probably not going to be worth it. I do feel that. I do feel that, man. So it is interesting. It's kind of like I don't want to say a roles reverse because we've had great pitching in the past and even in past.
This year's different, bro.
It does feel a bit different.
This year feels very, very different because that name you just mentioned, Nola, the last 3 playoffs.
He's been the number 2.
What does everyone always talk about? The 1-2 punch. Philly has a 1-2 punch that most other teams don't have. Wheeler, Nola. He's not even in
the combo.
The conversation.
He's not.
He's not in the car right now. He's not in the back seat.
Which is crazy, but crazy in a good way. Obviously.
I am confident in saying that they have the best rotation in baseball with how these dudes are throwing right now.
Who else would you put up there off the top of your head? What other teams?
I mean, the Dodgers rotation, when healthy, I think Glasnow's throwing tonight. Yamamoto, I know, just got rocked. Snell, I mean, when healthy, that rotation is ridiculous on paper as well. I know their bullpen's leaking at the moment, but the Dodgers are going to be up there. Man,
is that it?
I don't know that there's a close
starting 4 like better than
I mean, there's teams that have aces that can compete with a Wheeler. There are teams that have a great 1-2 punch
starting rotation.
There are no teams that have a 4 like the Phillies and have a guy like Andrew Painter coming up and an Aaron Nola on the injured list. There's just not.
Yeah.
But all in all, say that to say this, they are a very good baseball team. They're an imperfect baseball team. Do I love them to go and win a World Series right now today? No, I want to say I love it. I don't think they've been playing the most inspiring baseball. I think the bats have been annoying.
Where would you put them right now, though?
We'll reconvene post deadline and see if Dave Dombrowski wakes up because this is huge. This is a huge, huge, huge month for Dave Dombrowski, bro. Yeah. He was brought in here to push in and do a job. And he's done a very good job of replenishing that farm system that people thought he was just going to demolish when he came over here. He's done the opposite of that. He's been too conservative in the past with this farm system. You got to go do it. Kyle Schwarber's on the last year of his deal. I hope he's back. We don't know. Zach Wheeler's retiring in 2027. Bryce Harper's almost more than halfway done his contract at this point. The guys are getting older. The big names are getting older. It's time to go. It's time to go get that trophy back.
Is Ranger getting signed back?
Right. That's another conversation. So it's time to go be aggressive at the deadline. Yeah. And I'm confident that he is going to. But Phillies are a very, very, very good baseball team, Scotty. That's
who do we got next?
The last thing I'll say about it.
Got the Padres next.
Padres, yep. And then what is it? Padres break and then Red Sox at home?
Yes, break from 7-13 to 7-18, and then not the Red Sox, but the Angels. Then
Angels then Red Sox at home.
Yeah.
So, all right. So obviously, big
nice stretch here. Let's take advantage.
San Diego. Right. If they go let's see how the next 3 or 4 days go. All right.
But also, don't put too much stock in it, right?
Correct.
162 of them, man. We're learning here.
All right, let's move on because I'm dying to get these comments, and I'm praying that he's still here because
I am too, man.
Brian, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that you come in, you interact with us.
Consistent.
You're fun most of the time. You are consistent, if nothing else, Brian. But you make little to no sense in what you've commented over the last 10 to 15 minutes. Because let's start with this. Brian Pumper is an elite ball knower, okay? Let's go down one. Ace Bailey looks very much like T-Mac 2.0. Now, Ace Bailey did not play well against the Sixers in the opening Summer League game. I think he had like 7 points, did not shoot well. People were running victory laps. I thought that was extremely stupid to do. Pretty sure he's been balling out over the last 2 or 3, okay? I won't even go as far to say you're crazy for what you're saying. Maybe. But then we get to here, and if your logic about one kid playing in the Summer League extremely well, how do you watch the only game our 3rd overall pick is played in and compare him for Josh Okogie when the kid dropped 28 and 10? Like it lacks sense.
Yeah.
On one hand, you're on one hand you're propping up Ace Bailey because he's looked great in 2 Summer League games. On another hand, you're giving a knock at VJ Edgecombe when he blew Ace Bailey out the fucking water in his only Summer League game. You don't have to value the Summer League. If I'm being honest, we shouldn't value the Summer League. It's fun to get an initial look at them. It's new. It's fresh. It's that new toy. Oh, let's see. And then when he goes out and does what he did last weekend,
right,
it gets the wheels turning, and oh boy, it gets you amped for a second. But come on, relax. I just don't know how you prop up one and then make fun of the kid that dropped 28 against the kid that you're propping up.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, man. I think just to speak on VJ specifically here, like, how do you come out of that first game and like come up with Josh Okogie? Like, to your point, it does not make sense, man. 28 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal. Shot close to what? Maybe is that a little bit under 50% from the field. Did go 1 for 7 from the 3-point line. That's obviously the one sore point that you look at and you want that to be better. But guess what? When you're playing next to Embiid, when you're playing next to Maxey, when you're playing next to Paul George, when you're playing next to Jared McCain, these are all guys that are going to create a significant amount of space for you to operate and get your open looks. So he's going to have plenty of open chances to do his thing. And I bring that point up to say that, like, this is a summer league. If he's out there and he's capable to be the best player on the floor with Justin Edwards and Dembona and Janai Broom out there with him, what's he going to be able to do with a former MVP next to him? A former All-Star in Tyrese Maxey, a former All-Star in Paul George. What's he going to be able to do with those guys next to him? I'm super excited. I'm super intrigued. I'm super curious to how he's going to fit in with the actual Sixers roster. And to the point of, I do want to take it to the other point because Pumper, he brings up the point about Ace Bailey, right? And Ace Bailey, we both talked the night that the Sixers were about to draft. We were fine. You wanted Ace Bailey. I was leaning more towards VJ at that point, but I was cool with taking Ace Bailey as well. nobody's an Ace Bailey hater here, and I just want to make that clear on this pod because it feels like there's this portion of Sixers fans that has just either they were Ace Bailey haters before. It's that fucking hoops reference, man. That's who I'm fucking talking about. Yo, like, let's just be for real here. That's who I'm talking about right now. Running victory laps, man. And he was not saying to draft VJ Edgecombe. He was saying to draft Con Knipple. Regardless, welcome the player that comes to your squad with open arms, man, and hope for the best. We're not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and act like I watched all of VJ Edgecombe's footage back to when he was in high school or whatever, growing up 7 years on the generator. I didn't watch his footage back that far. I saw a little bit of him at Baylor. I watched the tape leading into the draft, and I like the player that we drafted, man. Yep. It's the same way that I felt about Ace Bailey. I think these are two different players that do two different things. They're going to bring two different skill sets to a team. The only thing that we're going to see, though, while these people are just like throwing out these victory laps right now, Ace Bailey's walking into a Jazz team where he's going to be number 2 option at least. Well,
so my point is
DJ's not going to be there for the Sixers.
I haven't checked his Twitter page since I saw you reply to him about the gatekeeping tweet of, stay on that side, don't celebrate.
I didn't like that.
DJ's 28 performance. But has he said anything about Ace Bailey in Ace Bailey?
I'll lie to you. I muted him, so I just don't want to see it
smart
anymore.
Move.
Like,
I have refrained from responding. I try to refrain and keep myself from responding to those types of people because I'm not. I don't know if it is. It's more so just I know it's a losing battle.
Yeah.
Because, look, it's why I always say, especially when we're talking about the teams that we love and that we're going to watch 100% of the action of, that we care about so much and they control our emotions. It's why I try to not say anything too over the top when I'm feeling a certain way negatively. Because don't get me wrong, there are people that I've talked to in Philly circles where I'm like, man, stay on that side, right? Like you're not a Philly, and I'm not trying to gatekeep, but when you talk about that, it pisses me off. I guess that's what he was trying to say, but to your point, he didn't even say to take VJ Edgecombe.
Right.
And on the other side of things, no one was really out there shitting on VJ Edgecombe pre-selection.
No.
People just felt a certain way about Ace Bailey.
Yeah.
That's the guy people wanted. We watched it live on here. I wanted them to still take Ace Bailey. Yeah. I said VJ Edgecombe brings my, hype meter down a little bit. I'm like, I'm fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
I hope I'm completely wrong.
Right.
From what we watched the other night, it's a nice step in the right direction.
The right direction.
Because a lot of the things that we read, that we watched, because let's not get it twisted. Like you're right. We don't watch his tape or anything going back to height. But I did see a decent amount of VJ Edgecombe because I watched a lot of college basketball, and Baylor was a very, very productive team over the last year. The athleticism, come on. I mean, already postered somebody. Already jumps up.
Yeah. I mean, where does he rank in athletes on the Sixers in the last fucking 20 years?
Right.
Like Andre Iguodala?
How many steals did he have, Scotty?
He had he had 1 steal, 2 blocks.
1 steal, 2 blocks. Effort on the defensive end. Already going to be one of their best or second best perimeter defender on the team.
10 rebounds.
The athleticism, the hustle, the grind, the defense. That's all there. And then one of the 2 negatives that came with this kid was the shooting from 3. You mentioned those numbers weren't great, but to shoot almost 50% from the floor with those bad numbers tells you a lot about his game. The way that he invited contact, the way that he was able to finish around the rim. His first bucket, kind of bringing the ball out here and flipping it up.
It fucked my head up, honestly. It fucked my head up. I was just like, whoa, he's got that in the bag.
It's a tough finish. And the other negative that we read about him was what? His handle, the concern that people had. I mean, Summer League, I'm not trying to put too much stock in it against who he's playing, right?
He needs to get better
on the floor.
Good enough.
I watched the kid that was going coast to coast. I watched the kid that was penetrating and turning around and kicking out to Janai Broom for 3.
Yeah.
He seemed okay enough to me.
And let's be honest, with all these damn guards on the roster, he's not going to have to dribble that much. Let's just be honest. But no, I do agree, man. And I think the other thing that I'll throw in there is the mid-range, man. He had a smooth pull-up mid-range, which was making me feel very very comfortable. Very I'm starting to look at D-Wade footage and shit. I mean,
it's a lost art.
Yeah, it's something that you just don't see very often. So yeah, when I see him come out his first game and have a game like that, you start to think like, man, maybe this guy is the limit. We'll see.
Especially when you talked about the guys that, knock on wood, he's playing next year.
Right.
You talk about a Joel Embiid in the post. You talk about a Paul George on the wing, a Tyrese Maxey dribble penetrating. VJ Edgecombe with his athleticism, is he used as a slasher sometimes? And when he gets into the paint, when he gets into one of those lanes, and is it to the elbow, bang, catch, shoot off of a cut, like different things like that, you're going to be able to run with them. But everything else, man, perfect.
Yeah,
perfect. And it's full. It just keeps going. The gift that keeps giving, the joke that keeps giving with the Sixers and injuries, obviously. He gives us that little taste, 28 points, and then he's hurt. But come on, I mean,
I'm just gonna take it. I'm honestly, I'm gonna be optimistic. Knock on wood, and I'm just taking it as he scored 28 points. He had 10 rebounds and 4 assists in his first outing. Guess what? He doesn't need to play again.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, look, they put him on the summer league roster, but they got one look at him and said, "You don't belong here. Let's just sit you down.
We'll save you for regular season." We saw Embiid go out and play Olympics last summer, so you can come on back.
Okay.
We'll see. Vegas is the real summer league anyways, so maybe this weekend, maybe he suits up again anyways. I don't know. Let
me ask you about the second round pick, bro. One of those Wooden players, Wooden Award players from last year. Final Four team, one of the best teams in the country for the entire year. The leader of that team, Janai Broom. Second round pick. Does he have the size / athleticism to play in this league, right? Because in college, he's a bigger guy. Here, not so much. But does he lack the athleticism to fit in with that lack of size at his position in this league? Tell you what, Janai, you hit those catch and shoot threes and you rebound the way you did at Auburn and you are doing in the summer league so far.
Yeah.
I'll find you a spot.
Yeah,
I might not get many minutes, but I'll find you a spot.
Honestly, Dylan, man, I know there's a lot of talk. There's people talking about him, playing the 4 spot. I don't see that. I don't see him playing the 4. Between him and Adem Bona, and this is without Andre Drummond in mind. This is the thought they should move him or do whatever with him. I just don't think you need to use him. I think you get a nice balance with Adem Bona, athleticism, like hustle, like all of that.
He's shining. He's also shining in the summer league right now, bro.
He is. I like his game. I think it's just because we're so used to like guys that are like scared or like low effort or something. Like I don't know what it is.
Well, because he was so raw coming out of UCLA last year.
Yeah.
And it almost reminded you of like Paul Reed-esque. More athletic than Paul Reed, even coming out of UCLA.
Stronger.
Right? Stronger, but like still afraid. Can he finish at the rim? Different things like that.
Bobbling the ball at the rim and shit. Yeah.
You're seeing an aggressor with the basketball in his hands.
Yeah.
When he's got one-on-one, when he's got contact and he's in the post. And I think, again, when you mentioned complimentary behind Joel.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give it a chance. But again, it's like summer league.
It's matchup based, right? Like it's one of those things. Like maybe you have the more athletic, or maybe it's like a small ball big that you want to throw a Adem Bona out there, or a more athletic big that's rebounding with the second unit. Maybe it's a slower pace, like a Brook Lopez on the Clippers. Right?
I heard you mention. Are you good with Are you good on Andre Drummond? Like I know he opted into his player deal. Do you not need to see it anymore? He was one of those guys that, basically got shut down in the second half of last year with the rest of the team. He's a guy you and I were happy to have back.
Yeah.
And it's just, I feel like he's tainted from last year because we got too much of starter Andre Drummond because of the injuries. And that's not the idea of Andre Drummond. The idea of Andre Drummond is limited minutes, 7-footer behind Joel Embiid.
And he was overshadowed, I feel, by Yabusele. And I know
Yeah.
they're not the same position. I understand that, but I think Yabusele was just that, like, everybody loved Yabusele to the point where, to be honest, bro, I think he got overrated to an extent. Like, he's a quality player. He's a guy you do want in your rotation, but like, come postseason, is he guarding anyone? We would have to see. We'll see it. Yeah. He'll play for the Knicks. They'll make the playoffs. We'll see what happens with him. But I'm not losing sleep over that, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, as much as I like the guy. But yeah, no, that's a great question. I think, it's not mandatory that he be off the team. And I guess I would want to see a little bit more from Janai Broome and even at Dembona to feel comfortable with those guys as like the options behind Joel. So yeah, it's a great point. You wait and see what you get out of this summer league, because I would be playing those guys. You take VJ out. Justin Edwards, does he belong in the side? To be fair, his production says he does, but he played so much last year and he showed great signs, man.
First of all, am I missing? Didn't we just give him a 3? Did we just give him?
We did an extension. Yeah.
You better get that boy off the summer league roster.
Yeah. I feel this with Martian the hair, dog. Yo, it's why I know you asked earlier, Marsha. It's why I don't get cornrows, man, because my hair up front is not long enough to take it the whole way back. So you're just gonna have this front part that is completely separated from the fucking cornrow, and it just looks so horrible, dog.
Do it. You gotta do it for us.
But no, I do like. I feel like Broome is like different from other bigs that we've drafted in the second round in the past. Like Paul Reed, you mentioned earlier, just not very skillful. That's the opposite of Broome. He has a ton of skill. It's more just the athleticism. To your point,
the thing that I like from Janai Broome is up here. I think I said the word polished and raw when it came to a Dembona coming out of UCLA. I think Janai Broome is a much more mature player coming out of Auburn. That winning culture, the leader of that team. You remember the shoulder injury last year? Remember him going back? His parents went down, thought he was done. I believe it was the SEC tournament. Comes back out and plays. The toughness that he brings, the toughness that VJ brings. So no, I am interested to see what happens. The Drummond thing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Let's run down this list of guys coming back. Right? Yeah. Drummond was a player option that he opted into. Correct.
Correct.
Oubre. Player option, correct?
Correct.
Which I'm fine with, by the way, coming off the bench. Yeah. Eric Gordon, because everyone's up in arms about that. That is a player option, I'm pretty sure.
He declined his player option and signed back on the vet minimum. I believe vet minimum. That's why people up in arms about it.
Yeah, all right.
And Kyle Lowry was not an option. That was
that was the one I was getting to because
that one more than Eric Gordon even. Like, I'm over the Kyle Lowry thing. Yeah.
I mean, Daryl, brother, we're getting younger, right?
We're rolling, and then you bring those two back.
That's mind-numbing to me, especially for the fact that, and I never thought I would be pounding the table to get Quentin Grimes back on this roster.
Right.
And who knows what he's going to look like, not as, the first option and between all these guys. Hopefully he fits in seamlessly and continues to shoot and score the way he did last year. But you're going to bring Quentin Grimes back, hopefully, as an RFA.
Yeah.
When that happens, you are loaded in the backcourt. So you're just filling a roster spot for a mentor?
Right. He could just be an assistant coach at that point. Like, it doesn't make sense. In
Eric
reverse,
Gordon's also going to play the two. Like, Eric Gordon's another guard.
The opposite of what you said, brother, is Kyle Lowry taking minutes from our young guards, and that's what's going to set me off. That's what's going to blow me.
That would be even worse, bro.
So, you want to sign him, whatever? Let him ride on the bench then. Do not bring him on the court,
dude. Then at that point, why waste the fucking roster spot like that?
Why not bring in another big?
The last guy we didn't even mention, bro, before we either get out of here and move on, etc.
Yeah.
Trendon Watford. from the Nets, friends with Maxey. It's kind of the domino that fell where you knew Yabusele wasn't coming back. I think he averaged a little over 10 for Brooklyn last year. Athletic, can play the 4. Is this a guy you see, like, do you see him starting at the 4 for this team?
Man, it's an interesting question. I mean, I'm just checking his minutes per game last year because he only averaged, looks like, what, 3.6 rebounds. Who's he talking? Oh, is he talking about Trent Watford? Yeah. No, I'm actually intrigued. Is the best way that I can put it with Trent Watford.
It's good. Like, I'm not mad at it at all.
When you think about the way he could fit and the positives that I'm hearing about him is his facilitating, his playmaking, his passing, him getting in the lane and being able to make the right decisions or finish at the rim. Yeah, I think it's exactly something that the Sixers were missing. The big thing would be Kenny rebound.
He is like who we've been asking for fit-wise.
Yeah.
Maybe not the talent level of who we've been asking for fit-wise, but the type of player we've been asking for fit-wise. The athletic ability. Yeah.
He's like a mini Ben Simmons. Hey. Minus like the defense, like all defense, like that's what I mean by many. Like minus he's not Ben Simmons,
but minus the fuckery up here. So
yeah, Ben Simmons signed with. I don't think so, man. Another guy I was interested in, and I don't know what his price tag was going to be, but I was spinning my wheels on it, man. Russell Westbrook, he's still out there, and like, don't get me wrong, like no, like obviously not now, especially when you bring Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry back. And in reality, no, I do not want him taking minutes from our young guards either. But rebounding, maturity, like you want an actual role or a mentor, like Russ can actually contribute.
Scotty, I'm all for it until he airballs a corner 3 or misses a fast break layup.
And then gives the fans attitude about it.
Because the moment that happens, I'm going to lose my mind.
I feel you, and we didn't do it, so it's all good. But yeah, no, I feel you. I think the mantra here overall, I don't want my young guys being impacted by these old heads that just really aren't contributing much anymore.
Well, and the last thing I'll say about it, bro, is like, look, over a year ago now, Tyrese Maxey was handed part of the estate. Yeah. Tyrese Maxey was given keys.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey is at the age or approaching the age, damn sure the contract of not needing to be mentored, of being the guy that can take guys under his wings. I don't need Kyle Lowry to mentor anybody. If he wants to mentor or coach, go fucking coach on the staff.
Yeah.
You'll get a job.
You can't tell me Nick Nurse wouldn't take him on his coaching staff. You just can't tell me that. Nick Nurse obviously has a fucking like romantic relationship with this motherfucker because he keeps coming back to his teams. So I'm pretty sure he would have been good on the coaching staff. I'm with you. I would have given it to young, like stretch fours or, different things like that. I would have just given us some variability in the 4 spot or back up to Embiid, like just giving us more options.
I'm thinking about this legitimately, right? This year's team, you're going to have PG, Kelly, Watford, Justin Edwards, and can we throw VJ in that conversation of like a 3?
I think with the way the team is structured, like
that's what I'm saying. We're only talking about like 4 options of guys that can play the 3/4.
Yeah,
and one of them can't play the 4.
And it's barely the 4. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I agree, man. So I was looking at guys like Chris Boucher out there. This is a guy I've been mentioning for a couple of years now, I feel like, from Toronto. But just giving yourself like a shot blocker off the bench, somebody that like he does something good. You know what I mean? Like just having like these specific role play. We saw it in the finals, man. Just having guys that can do 1 to 2 things good. It doesn't have to be scoring. We don't need scoring. We got plenty of scoring on this roster. We need all the other little things. So that is why I think Trent and Watford, to your point, could be maybe the answer. If they give him the adequate shot at it, I think he could earn that role just because if he is more of a facilitating big, I feel like that just fits perfectly next to Embiid, next to Paul George, even with Maxey, who's just not a pure passer, as we've discussed several times on here. Maybe he gives you that pure passer feel. I'm not trying to hype him up too much, but I've seen a lot of different basketball heads in the Sixers community that do dig into the tape, is the best way I would put it. Thiago Silva, used to be a part of TPL. I'm not 100% sure where he's at now.
I don't want to F up what they are. But.
Right. But no, I was talking to him about Trendon Watford the other day, and he sounds pretty excited too. It's just whether or not he gets the opportunity. PJ Washington, who Marshawn Lynch mentioned as well, just feels like the perfect guy to be traded to the Sixers for whatever they would want. It shouldn't be too much, but that would be a wonderful fit next to Embiid as well. But
they already won, brother. 13 zip.
Yeah, 13 zip.
Nada.
Jason Voorhees type shit.
Yeah. All right. Let's get on out of here.
Flyers? You didn't want to touch the Flyers?
Let's talk Flyers.
Let's talk Flyers Friday. Fly Fridays.
Flyers. Oh, I like it.
Let's do it.
Right, dude. I will say, people. I don't know if I'm going to say this to our audience and they're going to understand the name that I'm about to say, but Trevor Zegras, fleeced him. Goes next to Mitkov. Very young.
Oh man,
was one of the best. Was one of the promising stars. Was on the cover of NHL. Fly days.
Ooh, I like that, Abe. I like that.
We do need an intern around here, Abe. You looking to intern for free?
Fly days.
Come up with ideas. Danny's cooking. Martian Danny is cooking. They have no goaltender. They have subpar goaltending, which is why they're not going to be very good. I mean, they're going to be good, right? They're going to make strides.
Yeah.
Mitch Cobb year 2. He locked Cam York up for, what was it? A 5-year deal at low AAV recently. They're 2 to 3 years out. But I promise you, and that salary cap continues to go up. And apparently 2 or 3 years from now, that NHL cap is going to balloon to a number that people haven't seen before. And that is when Danny's going to make his push. Yeah. And then, knock on wood, because I know you're not the biggest hockey guy, Scotty, and Abe and Martian and whoever else in here might not be the biggest hockey fans. But once upon a time, I used to do a lot of Flyers content a couple years back.
I was going to say, yeah, it's
have some fun.
It's hard. It's hard for me to talk hockey. It's hard for me to talk puck.
I get you.
It's hard for me to talk puck.
But once upon a time,
fucking suck. So I need them to be back in the postseason. That's what I need. I need some aura. That's what I need. I'm a casual hockey fan, casual puck fan.
That's fine.
We love the Fly guys, though. No, I remember when we first started, man. We definitely did cover the Flyers pretty regularly. They had that. What was it? One playoff push a couple years ago? Was it one?
Yeah, they took. Well, they were the 1 seed. It was coming out of COVID, which we can call a little fraudulent if we want to. It was coming out of COVID, and they won the round robin tournament to determine the seeding. And they got the 1 seed. Then they disbarred of the Canadians real quick in like 5 games, and then they got the Islanders and went down 3-1 against the Islanders, and then came back 3-3. And then lost Game 7 by like 1, I believe.
That one hurt. Yeah.
And since then, the Flyers have went back to irrelevancy.
Yeah.
So that's funny thing as we wrap up here, and we'll get to Fly Days coming Friday, and we'll talk a little bit about that Zegras trade. But the year after that, our man El Parcero Philly, right before he actually came over to join DSM, I went on his show, on his pod, and it was a weird time in the summer, and we were talking of the 4 teams for me. Who do I think was closest to contending? And the Flyers they went out and traded or signed for Ryan Ellis, who was like a top 5 defenseman at the time. I think he played 6 games for the Flyers and his career ended. I swear to God. They just went out and had a hell of a season, and Carter Hart was young and upcoming. I thought they were close, bro. I thought they were so close to contending. Oh, don't pull it out. Oh no. Oh no!
You reminded me like I should probably get rid of it. Honestly,
I got
man.
one in my closet too, bro. I got one still hanging up there. Every
I
Flyers
just love
jersey I
that
get,
style
they
of
get
jersey,
traded.
the stadium jersey, man. That shit
Yeah.
is fire. But man, yeah,
The jerseys I have, like the Flyers jerseys I have, not the most astounding citizens. I don't think.
not the best.
I got a Carter Hart jersey up there. I got an Ivan Provorov jersey still hanging up there. Who was not a fan of Pride Night here in Philadelphia. I had an Oscar Lindblom jersey. Don't ask me why I had an Oscar Lindblom jersey. Kid got leukemia. Doesn't play for the Flyers anymore.
Was it the purple one at least?
He beat it. But
didn't they have like a purple edition for the leukemia?
Yeah.
That was pretty dope. But
yeah, but
Diddy jersey,
not the best. Not the best, dude.
Yeah, give us a reason. Give me a reason. I need to go out and get a Mitchkov jersey. That's what it sounds like.
There you go. I only got the jersey right now. I only got the T-shirt jersey of Mitchkov.
Got to make the playoffs to upgrade to the jersey.
That's fantastic points. Fantastic point.
But yeah, man, let's need to get into the Fly Guys more on here. I like that.
Don't say the word jersey though to like diehard hockey fans. They're called sweaters. Get it correct. Go get your sweater.
That's a new one for me. I guess I am not in the puck communities.
Oh, I wish I still had my Wayne Simmons jersey, bro. Or
man,
Wayne was spelled a different way, so you might be talking about Ben Simmons, but
oh man.
Anyway,
feels good to be back though, man.
We got D-Rab in here. We got Abe. We had Pumper, Martian. Guys, if you want to be interactive with us throughout the shows, make sure to check out the YouTube specifically. If you're watching on Twitter, thank you. Appreciate you. Doesn't help us too much. Subscribe to the YouTube. Comment from there. We'll be interactive throughout each and every one of our shows and live streams. We're quickly approaching the end of July, which means training camp, which means football season's on its way back. And that's when we have a lot more fun here. So for myself, for Scotty, tap in, subscribe, follow, and we will talk to you guys on Friday for Fly Day. Peace out.